The reality is, fintech is not that sexy. It is hard work, but it is super fun and fulfilling. Why? Because most of us are in a vulnerable financial position and suffer from money stress. So, our job as fintechers is to come up with solutions. Welcome to Fintech Product, the place to be for career advice for women in fintech. I am Moni, and I've built a career building digital banks from scratch, both in the UK and Southeast Asia. I strongly believe in togetherness, and I'm here to open up, share, and bring fintech product and leadership experts together so that you don't have to start from scratch to thrive in your career in fintech. I'm Mexican-British living in Asia, and I'm recognized as Singapore 65 fintech product leaders and women in fintech. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fintech Product. So today, we are going to have a wonderful conversation on challenging our comfort zone and understanding the basics of payments, e.g. the basic payments process. So if you want to get into fintech or you are working already in a fintech and somebody tells you, hey, how do the payments flow work? And you go blank, this is the episode for you. So today we have Andrew Christodoulou from Worldline Global, the #1 European payments provider. So, Andrew, welcome to the show.
Yeah, hi, Monica. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure having you. And it's a very important topic.
It is.
That I struggled with for a long time. So I'm very, very happy to have this conversation today. But before we get started into payments as such, I think it's important to get to know each other as fintechers, and it's to showcase our backgrounds and everything. So can you tell us about your story? You're from Cyprus, but in the Netherlands, what made you change? What's your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Cyprus. So I was there for around, most of my life, for 20 or so years. I went to the school there. I went to the military there because we still have conscription in Cyprus.
Yeah.
And after that, I realized that, there's not much to do here for me time. And I wanted to kind of challenge myself, get out of my comfort zone. So, yeah, I decided to just pack my bag and basically leave the country and kind of pursue a future somewhere else. And that somewhere else was the Netherlands. Because, it seemed like the destination that I wanted to go to at the time. And I think it was a great decision. I did my studies here. So I did my undergrad in psychology and international relations. And then I did my my postgrad in European politics. And now I'm in payments.
Exactly. That's interesting because politics and payments, you would think, only if I have a background in economics or engineering, I get into payments, but no.
Yeah, that's actually a common misconception because usually when I tell people I work in payments, they always ask me, "Oh, you studied business administration, right? Or finance, or but economics." I'm like, no, absolutely not. I did not.
Exactly.
I did not do any of those things.
And then, how did you end up in payments with a degree that it's not traditionally associated with payments?
Yeah, so when I graduated, right, I had a lot of ambition, immediately get a job and all these things. And then I was in complete panic because I didn't know where to start, just like every single graduate, I think. And I started throwing applications here and there. And then when I actually started doing proper applications, because I think a lot of graduates, when they finish university, they shoot applications everywhere, and whatever they catch, they catch. But then when I actually sat down and kind of read more about the industries that I'm applying for, fintech really resonated because I really liked the industry, kind of how it's flourishing right now. And I mean, especially in payments, everybody's going to be paying. Everybody has been paying for years now, right? So, yeah, it's something that's really important and has a lot of meaning and purpose behind. So that's why I got into it.
Cool. And then now that I love that you touch those two words, meaning and purpose. What has been the role of purpose in your life? And this is broad. This is not just careers in payments, but it's how do you find meaning? How do you find purpose? What's the role of those two words in your life?
Yeah. Those are actually two of the words that really drive what I've been doing since I was a
Hmm.
kid. Because yeah, when I was small, uh, I didn't really have a clear path in life, right? So I went to
Yeah.
school. Initially, I was just a jock. I was playing basketball at high school. I didn't have a career path. I don't think anybody expected me to go to uni much as well, like leave the country and pursue a career. So I found purpose really in people believing in me because I had a really
Mm.
supportive family. I have two wonderful parents, two wonderful siblings that always believed in me and my capabilities and what I can do.
Yeah.
And kind of that drove me into strengthening kind of this purpose that I also felt about myself. And yeah, I created this person that I am today, to be honest.
Awesome.
So family, really.
It's family. Family has been
Yeah.
like kind of the driver behind it.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yes, because also living abroad, sometimes it's challenging and you do need to hold on to something.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It is a challenge because you literally bolt from the safest space that you've known
Yeah.
since you were born. And that challenge is something that a lot of people kind of avoid. But the ones that pursue it find a great reward at the end because, yeah, it leads to a lot of growth. And at the end of the day, I think that is something that I've always pursued.
Hmm. Yes. I
Yeah.
also like value that. Exactly. It's the journey of growing. I've always been a learner, but it's like growth. It's always present in my mindset,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
It gives you a lot of satisfaction to see
Yeah,
you
of course.
grow. Otherwise, you're like stuck.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, who wants to be stuck, right?
No,
You don't
exactly.
want to be
That's the
stuck.
worst feeling because
Yeah.
that's when you get like the, I'm stuck, I'm
Yeah.
stuck. And you're like, I don't know where to have it now. It's
Yeah,
like you're just
exactly.
stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody likes that. And I don't like it either.
So how have you, I guess like I'm just trying to dig a little bit deeper into your mindset and your life as in
Hmm.
getting out of home, moving to the Netherlands, starting a, like your career in fintech. And that means that you've left your comfort zone. Like how have you handled the, it's not stress, but it's like the uncomfortable
Yeah.
feelings of leaving the
Yeah.
comfort zone?
Yeah. That's actually a really good question because a lot of the times I forget the things that I did
Yeah.
to kind of cover myself. But when I left and I kind of, had to learn how to live alone and how to kind of understand how now you function now as an adult abroad, away from family in the comfort zone. Yeah, I always basically try to keep track, of how I'm doing by journaling or by being aware, just
Hmm.
personally being aware of it, and just kind of tracking the journey, either internally or on paper, and see how I'm
Yeah.
doing. Always checking in on myself, like, okay, how was today? And
Cool.
asking kind of questions like, okay, what was your favorite part of the day today? What went well? What didn't go well? What can go better, next week? And kind of always reassuring, because
Yeah.
I think we tend to forget that.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we're in constant stress and okay, everything goes going bad and you're in this pit of negativity that you're stuck and you don't want to be stuck, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's the journey of kind of asking yourself those questions, like known as being self aware and self reflection, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of like looking back and say, yeah, this worked, this didn't. I like that.
Yeah, of course, because I mean, nobody else is going to ask you those questions unless you do.
No.
Because
Yeah,
when you go, you're alone,
exactly. I
you
call
know?
them like I auto coach myself. I'm always
Yeah.
coaching myself. That's what I call the questions. I coach myself, whether that is in my mind or writing down the question. If I'm like stuck,
Yeah.
I properly write the question and then just like, like
Yeah.
coach myself
Absolutely.
slash find that awareness, self awareness to
Yeah,
find what's bothering
absolutely.
me.
Yeah, if people can do that, that's great. But if not, there's also other ways, like coaches, or you can go to a psychologist if you're struggling with something personal, which is perfectly fine as well. I mean, everybody has a different way of developing and understanding how they function the best. And also, yeah, when moving abroad, you will struggle. So if there's any way that will make you feel better, you just go for it. If that's doing it yourself, great. If it's going to a coach, awesome. If it's going to a therapist, that's also
Perfect.
great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or a mentor or a friend.
Yeah, either. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, as long
whatever
as
makes you
don't,
feel better.
Yes, exactly. As long as you don't keep those feelings to yourself and don't do anything about it and just suffer with them.
Yeah,
just try
exactly,
whatever
exactly.
works for you.
Exactly, exactly. Well, that's what I love about the current generations. I think they really seek out help, unlike the past 20, 30, 40 years where everything was just bottled up and then people lived with this eternal weights. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's changing and that's great. That's great.
Yes, that's really good. Cool. So let's change gears and now let's go into what I call the training session. So before we go and talk into about payments as such, can you tell us a little bit about what is Worldline? What do they do? What's a payments company, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So Worldline Global, we are a global payment service provider. And basically, what we do is, as the name says, we process payments for a variety type of companies. But I specialize in gaming and media or gaming and entertainment companies. And what we do is, yeah, we handle the transactions. So once somebody buys something, we come into the transaction. Let's say, imagine that we come into the transaction and we just communicate the message from the bank of the individual to the bank of the company. And then we create the messaging process. And that kind of ends up in, buying something from the shop. And then you own that product.
Yes. So let me step back a little bit and dissect what you just said, because this is like for the newbies joining to the industry. Yeah. So let's say that I'm Monica. I go online and let's say you work in gaming. So I go to my gaming platform and I want to buy some credits or boosters or something. And then I enter my card details, I could assume. And then basically something happens in the background.
Yeah. Card details, or it could be an APM, an alternative pay method as well.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I was like, or something else. Basically, I enter the details, something happens in the background, and then in my screen, I say, oh, payment approved or payment declined as a consumer. Yeah. So basically, what Worldline does is you're in the background taking those details, communicating with everyone that you need to communicate in the background to then give us a response of, yes, payment was approved or payment was declined.
Yes, because behind the transaction, there's so many processes that happen. You have different kind of entities that take part, such as an acquirer, which is basically the body that handles the transactions of the shop that you try to buy something from. Then you have the issuing bank, which is basically the entity that handles your money. So it's your bank, right? And then you have the card schemes, which are the major ones right now, Visa and MasterCard, that are also in the transaction. So there's a lot of different parties involved behind it. But in a nutshell, yeah, what we do is basically communicate the message of, hey, this person bought this from your shop, and then the transaction goes back and tells, the person's account, okay, do you have enough money in it? If you do, then okay, transaction goes through, you have enough money. We communicate that. And then transaction goes through, thing is bought, you get the email, transaction is complete, and then you basically bought the product.
Exactly. It's like very well explained. That's the flow as such. And then why, thinking as a newbie, why do we need a payments processor to do that work? Why can't just my bank talk with the gaming company and Visa? Why do we need this?
Yeah. That's actually a great question because in order to do all this, you need a contract with an individual acquirer. So with one company that can actually do the transactions for you, right? And if you try and do that as a company for every single country in the world, if you're a global company, then you have to basically negotiate hundreds of contracts. Yeah. And that would be a huge struggle and a huge go-to-market issue as well. If if you need your product launched immediately, if you want to track transactions immediately, and you don't want to delay that process, it would hurt. You end up losing money, and you kind of damage kind of your brand. So that is why PSPs, payment service providers, are necessary.
Yes, exactly. So that then the whole ecosystem comes together.
Exactly, because it's all built in one. Even though there's different kind of bodies, part of it, it's all built in one. It all functions together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then what are like, if I'm a newbie, what are the challenges that I need to be aware of in the payments processing process as such? What are the biggest challenges that we have today as an industry?
Yeah, the acronyms.
That is a very good point. The acronyms. Yes, that is true. The acronyms. We all are like, what was that?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, but I think as an industry, what's changing now, especially from the payment service provider perspective, is kind of this march into crypto now. Because as a payment service provider, okay, we're all trying to see now, okay, how do we fit in this? How do we make sure we can serve our merchants, our customers in the best way possible, right? If they want to march into crypto. But because this area is so new, we're still learning. People started giving proper attention in the past few months. So this is going to be, I think, a challenge for the next few years, to be honest.
Yes. And I think the other challenge, yes, I totally agree. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, how are we going to not fully transition, but how are we as existing financial institutions going to coexist? Our technology, how is it going to coexist with blockchain and crypto? I still don't have an answer, but it's a question that keeps coming to my mind. And we will not see the answer right now. We'll see in like 3 to 5 years time. We'll be like, oh, that's what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I think because we're all still working on it, right? We're still trying to figure out, okay, how do we coexist, or how do we kind of complement each other? So yeah, I think in the next few years we'll know for sure.
Exactly. And then it's not a challenge. Well, it is a challenge, but it's also an opportunity. What do you think is the role of payments in making the industry green and sustainable?
Yeah. So of course, every time a payment is committed, then you have the corresponding CO2 emission, right? But I mean, us as a company, as Worldline, we kind of created this commitment to become fully green, which we did a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken. But I think just like every other single industry out there that is trying to cut down on emissions, because climate change is real and it's here, and we have to fight it, and we have to try and prevent it as soon as possible. We need to all commit on these goals that were set out by our governments, by the commissions that we have, and etc.
Definitely. And I think it's like you say, it's like we all need to commit. And what I like, it's like we're starting to see more of the regulators saying, hey, here are the guidelines. Therefore, now it's not going to be a nice to have. So it's going to be within a few months or a few years. Everybody would have to at least report on CO2 emissions. Therefore, we can start tracking and seeing progress.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think in the past, there were no guidelines, right? There was just, it would be nice if you did it, but it's okay.
Exactly.
But finally now we have that. And that's also probably an additional driver to finding a solution to this.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And then just like to keep things simple and practical, actionable. At the beginning of the podcast, you mentioned, hey, how you got into the industry. Basically, you started reading about it and basically learning a lot. If I want to get into payments, I'm kind of going through websites, but not really understanding these. This podcast hopefully helped. What do you recommend people to do to start getting into payments? I get that question a lot. What do I need to do to get into fintech? What do I need to get into product? And in this case, what do I need to get into payments? What are the practical things that people can do?
Yeah, practical things. Basically, just go online, start Googling, because that is the best way to do things right now. Or use a kosher, it's a green alternative. Um, but yeah, basically Google, or what I did, to be honest, when I started working in payments, I was blessed to have, the first manager where she really helped me understand, kind of foster this safe environment. Okay, ask me any question you want. And no question is stupid. There's no such thing. And I will explain. So also ask questions, especially if you get into the industry and you're new. It's okay to ask questions. Nobody learned anything without asking questions, right? So
Exactly.
you got to ask questions. You got to be curious. And at the end of the day, we're all learning together. So that's part of the process.
Yeah, and I think that's spot on. Like we're learning together, not because we've been working in the industry for 10,
Yeah,
15, 20, 25, 30 years. We don't know everything. On the contrary, I
yeah,
think day by day we know less because the industry is growing so fast that you're
absolutely.
like, oh, yeah, I don't know about that. Now I need to go and read. So I think the key point that you make is, yeah, make questions. Don't be afraid to ask because there's no such a thing as a silly question. And even people who've been in the industry, quote unquote, long enough, we still have many questions.
Absolutely. You never
Yeah,
run out of questions. You can ask so many
exactly.
questions. Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you learn when others ask you questions and you're like, oh, I'm not sure. It forces you to think and to learn again. So asking
Yeah,
questions has
absolutely.
has the double purpose, like for you learning and
Absolutely.
for the other one answering.
Yeah. And I mean, if the organization you're working in, if they don't foster this environment, then maybe it's not the right place to be. Because at the end of the day, we're all learning together. Should be a safe place, and your growth is dependent on not just you, but also the organization offering you the opportunity to grow.
Yes,
That's why I'm happy where I'm at right now. I'm happy who I'm working for or who I'm part of, and yeah, yeah,
that's a very, very, very good point because, well, it reminds me, well, the phrase like psychological safety, but it's exactly what you just said, that it's like whenever you join a company, you want to feel comfortable asking all these questions. It's like safe asking all these questions, basically. And if
absolutely,
we
yeah.
don't have that as an industry, then it's like, ooh, we're not doing a good job. So as an industry, we need to kind of foster that environment as well.
Yeah, of course. Because I mean, if you want new people to join, right? You need that energy. You need the young people energy. You can't can't have a growing industry, right? You need
Exactly.
to help people out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And of course, of course. You need to try always and keep people interested, keep engaging, keep helping them enter. You know?
Exactly. How do you think we can do that better as an industry?
Yeah. Training sessions, I think, possibly even including courses about fintech in universities. Because when I was at uni, we didn't have this, and then
No.
suddenly I entered the industry. I had no idea um, anything about payments. And I think people have been paying for so many years now. How do we not have courses on how this all works right now?
Yes, that's a very good point because, like, we, let's say, the oldies in the industry, as
Yeah.
young as we are, we're old by now. Like, we did not learn payments in uni. We just like got a job and then we started learning everything that we know
Yeah,
on the
absolutely.
job.
Either. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The best way some people learn are on the job, which is that's the way I learn best too, on the job.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, but yeah, I think if there was some way to include training at university or any kind of learning platform, I know that some learning platforms are now online. They have courses on fintech, but
Yes.
I'm really aware that universities on the ground in different countries in the world do not have that.
Yes, exactly. Maybe it's like making it part of the curriculum, just like making financial well-being and money management that should be like mandatory since you're a kid.
Yeah,
Probably it's like
absolutely.
on top of that for people who go for, well, if you go for business or whatever discipline you want to study once you're in uni, you should have like an elective to be like, oh yeah, and I want to understand fintech. I want to understand payments. And that should be just part of the curriculum in 2 to 3 years
Yeah.
time.
No,
Forever.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. This, what you just said, I don't know how many times I've discussed this with friends. That
But
at school, in high school, when you're a kid, you do not do so many important courses. And then you end up doing things like, I don't know, in high school, I did a course called typing because I don't know why we had that, but okay, how important was I do that on my free time? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't actually, now that we say that, it's a good opportunity for now that the industry is growing to stop saying, hey, the industry, hey, financial services, and the rest of the world. It's more of a how can we tackle the problem holistically, like
Yeah.
from education, universities, payments companies, retail companies, like how can we educate the world basically, because we're all consumers, we all spend money, we all overspend, we get in debt.
True. True. That is
So
true.
it's holistically, if we educate everyone for different angles, different touch points, then we can tackle the problem of financial stress in people's lives.
Absolutely. And I think this is even more relevant right now because with the way that shopping has changed, with live shopping now and kind of all these different ways of flashing advertisements into your face, then you need to be aware, of the financial return of that.
Exactly.
If you buy something, there's something behind that. There's
Yeah,
debt, And also,
exactly.
yeah, also so many different payment products now. BNPL, buy now, pay later. That's great. You can buy something now, but you still gotta pay it, which is something that's a lot of consumers right now, I think, especially younger generations such as Gen Z, don't understand to its full extent yet.
Exactly. It's the impact of, because like with every purchase that we do with buy now, pay later, it starts becoming a habit. Right?
Absolutely, yeah,
So instead of having the habit of, hey, I have my money and then I budget, I can afford this much, therefore I spend. It's more of a, we're starting to build a habit of, hey, I've got my money. It doesn't matter what I have or I don't have. I can afford everything. I just like pay it in the future.
yeah,
Which I'm not sure I love that idea.
yeah. I mean, I mean, it's a great product if you are looking to buy something that you cannot afford immediately
Exactly.
and you need it. It's something
Yes,
you want to buy. Yeah. But
definitely.
if you're in a constant circle of debt, then yeah, then you need to sit down and think about it because that would create other problems, because you got to pay other stuff and then you don't want to be stuck in the debt
Exactly.
for the rest of your life.
Oh, coming back to payments. So we were talking about the payment cycle, right? That it's like I go
Mm-hmm.
to the shop and I want to pay my $100. Now that we
Yeah.
talk about buy now, pay later, where in that payment cycle does buy now, pay later come in?
Yeah. Yeah. So buy now, pay later, it's kind of a separate, because it's kind of a different model, I think, because you basically commit to the transaction as a customer, as a consumer. And then there's BNPL product, right? They give you the opportunity to buy it. They give you the product, but then you haven't paid it off fully. So they work as kind of like a borrower of money, right? In the likes of the big companies that we have right now. So yeah, that's how it basically works. And in terms of how we work with them, yeah, we kind of offer their services because they are basically a payment product,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Cool. So just to wrap things up, if I'm listening, I'm a newbie. Why should I join a payments company? Why is it exciting about working in payments?
So many different reasons. I cannot name them all right now. No, but I could really payments. It's such an exciting place to be. It's such an exciting industry because people have been paying since forever. We will be paying again till the end of time because you gotta purchase things, right? You gotta buy your food. You gotta buy your whatever you want to buy. And the industry is constantly growing. There's new ways to pay now. You can pay by QR code now. You can pay by smiling. I saw.
Yes, I saw that. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which is also really awesome, right? So there's new ways to pay, which creates kind of this new leeway of, okay, there's so many new things that are happening that you can contribute to, that you can kind of work with, that will maybe give you some purpose and meaning, into work. And we work for a lot of time in our lives. And I think really digging deep to see what you like. If it's fintech, that's great. Yeah. So it's important to kind of dig deep and see what you want to do with your life, to be honest.
I love that. It's like a perfect way to finish this episode. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not about only payments. It's about your life. You need to do something that you really enjoy, that you find meaning and purpose. Some
Absolutely.
fintech nerds would like payments, with like fintech, but
Absolutely.
we
But
create
payments are great.
meaning.
Yeah.
It's a dynamic industry that we know.
Yeah.
You don't get bored. It's dynamic and it's growing.
Yeah.
Which is also important.
Exactly.
Cool. Andrew, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Where can people find you if they were to be like, hey, I have questions?
You have questions? Yeah. Any questions, anything, or just to connect and have a chat? I'm on LinkedIn at Andrew S. Christodoulou, the long Greek name. And I'm there. I'm active all the time on LinkedIn. I post a lot of content every day. And happy to connect, of course.
Perfect. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Andrew, again. And ladies and gentlemen, see you next week. Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Hello again. It's been an absolute pleasure. I learned tons from this conversation, and hopefully you gained some insights, knowledge, or inspiration. It could mean the world if you follow, share, and rate the show, because it gives me feedback. And remember, if you have fintech, product, career, or life direction questions, reach out. I'm always happy to help. Go to my LinkedIn page, Monica Millares, and send me a connection request, DM me, and book time for a free mentoring session. See you next week. Ciao, ciao.